Hey Howard, what's up? I'm so sorry for being a little bit late, but good evening to you too. Welcome back. Welcome back to Dr. Jaws Live. As you may be able to tell, I'm really tired today. I think it might be allergy season. It's that time of year where everything is blooming and it just has an effect on everything. So I'm starting to feel that a little bit. It's also been a very long day, lots of errands, so a little tired, but totally jazzed to do the Antilles Catshark, Galeus antillensis, and also to talk about the Caribbean sharks, or sharks of the Caribbean. There's quite a few species, and a lot of really charismatic species, as well as a lot of really cool scuba diving opportunities in this area. So I'm excited to dive in and to take a closer look. But hope you had a good weekend. Anything in particular that was pretty fun, or is it still cold up there right now? Because here it's kind of like in and out, where it's some chilly days, some slightly warm days, starting to definitely get a little bit greener. But yeah. Oh, awesome, awesome. No worries. It's been crazy here lately too. So appreciate. Thank you for understanding. So I've got a cup of lemon vitamin C tea because I probably need some of that vitamin C, and a little mix of black tea as well. So, but I think what we could do is it might be cool to check out Caribbean sharks and the Caribbean as an ecosystem first. And snowed yesterday. Today rain. Gotcha. Yeah, that's good. That's good for. I actually really like this time of year when, even though it's like cold and clammy, like I do like the rains coming in because it's the beginning of that chain of events in life where things start growing and start the plants are starting to really like drink that up and start to be a good forage base for birds. One thing that we have. Trying to put my next car on the road. Oh, cool. Because if I remember correctly, Howard, I think you have a really cool motorcycle collection. Do I have that right? If I remember correctly. But that's actually really cool. So what kind of car is it, if you don't mind me asking? And I'm gonna pull up some of the sharks. In the meantime, this is Sharks for Kids. I've talked about them before. They're a really cool group, like a really cool outreach group that I've met in person a couple times, and they are just some of the nicest people. They have a really cool mission too. So, but they have this really cool breakdown of Caribbean sharks, like these fun Caribbean shark flyers. So I figure we can take a closer look at them. And it might be easier. These are all printable, but it might be easier just to zoom in. There we go, so that we can kind of see a who's who. It might be kind of like a fun, colorful way of seeing what's in the area. So these are Caribbean sharks, starting with the Atlantic sharpnose shark, Rhizopyrion terranovi. Also cousin to the Caribbean sharpnose shark, Rhizopyrion porosus. Oh, cool. Howard, 1948 Harley Panhead 2009 Hyundai Tucson. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, that's also like the Harley in particular. That's actually really exciting. Like a 1948. Is that like how old is? I'm not as familiar with motorcycles, but like how old is Harley or Harley Davidson? And actually, I could probably look it up myself, but I'm just kind of curious. Like, I mean. That's really cool to have like a functioning like motorcycle that old. Let's see, Harley Davidson. (1903). Oh, there you go. Sorry, I just found it the minute you mentioned it. So awesome, very cool. So for Caribbean sharks, we have the Atlantic sharpnose shark, and I actually like the size comparison. That's actually a really handy comparison right here, and that's actually kind of cool because in this size comparison, that's a pretty large individual. I love the art style here, where these are images by Andy Merck. So these are elasmodiver images. So top-notch shark photography. But there's such a cool, like very vibrant like these images really pop between like just the color choice of the text, the font, the color patterning. And we'll take a look at more of these, but this effort by Sharks for Kids is actually extremely cool. Like just from a design perspective, these are really really nice images. So, but in the Caribbean, we have the Atlantic sharpnose shark, the black-nosed shark, which I was fortunate enough to dive with at Baltimore Aquarium or late January, so about 2 months ago. But very cool species. Not a very large shark. Has this beautiful little smudge on the tip of its nose. You can't really see it quite in this photograph, but very cool tropical shallow water species. So black-nosed shark. The black tip shark. Love this this fact file here. Gorgeous colors. I love how this is oriented, and this photograph in particular, in tandem with the colors, is great. Where it really accentuates just how sharp the fins look on black tips, and that's the one thing that stands out to me. That helps me kind of identify the species personally. Is the fact that their dorsal fins and their pectoral fins, they have this really cool, sharp, sickle, curved look to them that's a little bit more extreme than other kinds of Carcharinus sharks. So, and what's kind of funny is like black tip sharks, they don't really have a lot, a noticeable, significant amount of black tips, or black on their fins. Other species like the black tip reef shark, or I think it's spinner sharks, they actually have a more noticeable amount of black on their fins. So, this tea is really helping. The Caribbean rough shark. So this is actually really cool that this website has not just shallow water species like the classics, but deep water species. So this is Oxynotus. I don't know if they have the scientific... Oh, yeah. Oxynotus carabius. So rough sharks are a cousin of dogfish, and they have the two dorsal spines here. Two equally sized dorsal fins, and this overall extremely cool pyramidal shape. So, oh, that's really cool, Howard. Sorry, I just saw this comment. I've owned that bike for 40 years. That is so cool. That's amazing, actually. Like, I'm just gonna start that. Kudos. I am hoping to get my car to be, because my car is currently 10 years old. I'm hoping to make it to 15. I think I can, but it's a Honda. I could maybe push it. I could maybe hit 20, but I can't imagine 40 on a vehicle. So that's super cool. Mad respect for that. That's amazing. So yeah, that gives me hope. I should be able to get to 20 at least. I should get to 20. So we'll see. Let's see. Caribbean reef shark, beautiful. I love how this kind of like tropical, mango pink lettering contrasts beautifully with like the Caribbean waters in the background for an iconic species. And yet, it's kind of funny. The Caribbean reef shark is, I would say for me, it's one of the more difficult species to tell apart because it's so it doesn't have. I feel like it doesn't have distinguishing features like the black tip sharks or the bull sharks. Like they just kind of, there's something about them that looks kind of, I don't want to say they look generic, but like, because that's really terrible. That's not how I feel about sharks. But Carcharinus perezii, this one has been kind of tricky for me personally to identify because it's hard to immediately pinpoint what makes it, for me at least, a Caribbean reef shark, and it's probably because I don't have Caribbean reef sharks where I live. They are definitely a tropical species, so they don't really come up. They never come up to Virginia. It's a little too cold for them, so it's not a Carcharinus that I'm really used to. But it is iconic for the area, very popular for dive tourism in the area. So, the classic bull shark, Carcharinus lucas. Now this you can absolutely tell very easily. Just that stocky, huge body, the really tiny eyes, just that almost nearly perfect triangular dorsal fin, the long pectoral fins. I mean, bull sharks just like look. Stocky is the right word. They just look stocky. They look like, I almost said they look fat, but like they're not fat. Not fat as in like pudgy. Fat as in like Bane, like the Batman villain. These are very powerful animals that have a lot of weight behind them, a lot of girth to them. They're just unmistakable. Even though the Carcharias they're very easy to tell apart. They also have that squared off, blunt snout. Again, the small eyes. There's no other shark like a bull shark. So really cool to see them here. Menacing, yes. Thank you. That's a good word for that. So really good, really cool to see them here. Another iconic Caribbean dive species. So. The dusky smoothhound, Mussel's canis, which is back. It is back in the Chesapeake Bay right now. There have been, not this year to my knowledge, but historically, there have been records of dusky smoothhounds in March, which is kind of early for them. They usually are here April through May, but really beautiful species. Talked about it before quite a few times, but this is unfortunately not a very flattering photograph of this species because this is actually a really gorgeous shark that is able to change its color. Dark skin over muddy seabeds, light skin over sandy seabeds. So it's a really amazing animal. In the Caribbean, there's a subspecies that actually likes to be around seamounts. So the dusky smoothhounds that I have, they're the continental subspecies. So they actually like to be on the continental shelf in shallow water, kind of in muddy bays. But the other subspecies is like the island subspecies, and they actually like to be in very, very deep water and in seamounts around some of the Caribbean islands. So this photograph is probably of an island subspecies, but it's really cool that there's a slight difference between the two populations. The great hammerhead, another unmistakable shark, just has that classic T-bone head shape. There's no other hammerhead shark that looks like this. This is just a straight up, like almost completely straight line across the head, like as far as like a completely straight bar. The other hammerheads, their heads kind of curve backwards in like a scallop shape, but great hammerheads have that flat T-bone shape. And they also have the enormous sickle-shaped dorsal fin. There's no other hammerhead shark like it. These are enormous sharks that get to be about 20 feet long. Another very popular focal point for dive tourism. So, hey, Bibia666, welcome back. Yeah, pit bull shark. Yes, that's a great way to describe it. Actually, that is an excellent way to describe the bull shark. So, 100%. Let me go back to that. That is a much better way to describe it. Pit bull shark. So yeah, that's better than the term I used, which was chubby. So hold on. Let's see. We were on great hammerheads. Let's take a look at lemon sharks. This is also really cool. I really like this color coordination here. Which is ironically, this is really funny. Like this lime colored lettering against that look at that beautiful turquoise, or not turquoise, teal, like teal Caribbean water. So lemon sharks are really cool, where they actually utilize mangroves quite often. Their pups, or adult lemon sharks will have pups who will migrate into the mangroves of the Bahamas, Caribbean islands, Florida mangroves have a lot of lemon sharks. The baby lemon sharks are able to exploit an environment that other sharks can't get into because the mangroves are just very narrow and very shallow, so it's hard for predators to be there. And it's a really cool system where you have clear water with these beautiful mangrove trees. Let me see if I can. I actually should have brought a video of that. Let's see. While we're here. This is a cool little clip of sharks. Oh, there it is. That's a mangrove. Okay, perfect. That's actually exactly that's awesome. Killing two birds with one stone. So this is a mangrove tree, and this is actually really cool. Where this is kind of in the outer edge of the water, but imagine more of these going inland, and that is actually a lemon shark that is hovering near one. So this is a little lemon shark. But mangrove forests are super cool, and I've been fortunate enough to snorkel in one in Florida when I used to live in Florida, which is, in retrospect, kind of a dangerous thing to do because bull sharks are very common in Florida. They are okay entering, like where I was a little bit deep, so that kind of maybe was not the smartest thing to do, but it was worth it because this habitat is super cool to observe underwater. Just to see these like roots and to have like all these like little fish go in and out. Like kind of like finding their little crevices and finding shelter and safety. So I would love to snorkel with lemon sharks in mangroves. I've never done that before, but I would love to do that someday. So this is kind of cool. This is just a broad overview, and I gotta go backwards and slow this down because this is a broad overview of. It's the same page, Sharks for Kids, but this is showing Sharks of the Bahamas, and it's a cool video complement to the slides that we're seeing. So. But this is lemon shark. I'm slowing it down so I can identify the species. This looks to be like a Caribbean reef shark. I think that is a Caribbean reef shark. That one is a tiger shark. Big, powerful, bulky species. This one, I think, is also a Caribbean reef shark. It's kind of hard to tell from a certain angle. That almost... This gets tricky. I almost said that almost looks like... That's not... It was. Those weren't Duskies, but... it gets kind of tricky to tell. Like Caribbean reef sharks are tricky to tell apart from other species just because they don't have as like obvious distinguishing features as some other shark species. So, but this is really cool. This is showcasing the Bahamas Shark Sanctuary. There's some nurse sharks just chilling out near what looks to be like a shipwreck. And there's some nurse sharks again in shallow water. They are very used to the docks in certain parts of the Bahamas. There's a nice tiger shark side view. You can actually see very clearly the teeth. Amazing razor shark. These are bull sharks right here. Big, stocky pit bull sharks. Back to tiger shark. So tiger shark is cruising. Back to lemon shark. One way you can tell is lemon shark is that the two are actually kind of similar sized. And they also have that lemon color. Now we're back to tiger sharks. Gorgeous animals. Random people. We could fast forward. We're going to be here for the sharks. So imagine being in this scenario, just this shark dive. Great hammerhead right here, right in front of you. And the water is super shallow, so like pretty much any open water diver can qualify for this. Honestly, I could do this. I don't know if my fiance wants me to do this, but I could do this. So, because the water is shallow enough that you can easily get to that depth and just sit there and watch the sharks come around you. So, lemon shark again. This is a cool aerial view of blacktip sharks. Here's great hammerheads. Awesome shot of great hammerhead right here. We got some bull sharks in the background. And here is a beautiful stretch of mangrove and seagrass habitat. We also have coral reef habitat here. So this area, like the Caribbean, or Bahamas is not technically part of the Caribbean, but like the tropical Atlantic area is just an amazing area. And here is a fantastic shot of a lemon shark pup going through mangroves. This is exactly what I want to see. I'm actually going to rewind it just for a better view. That is an excellent shot of what that is. So this is a shark species, lemon shark, that is at home in the mangrove environment, hunting for little fish. As they get bigger, they get further out to shore, further out to sea, but they do love going through the mangroves. So awesome. So that was a fun little switch. So we'll keep going. A fun little break. So yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Audio, ouch, audio okay. This is better. Sorry about that. Let's see. We'll get back to oceanic whitetip. So, okay, sorry. Oceanic whitetip shark. So this is a shark that we've talked about pretty recently. Critically endangered species, and also one of the more dangerous shark species, actually technically one of the most dangerous shark species. They like to be in open water, far from shore. Part of what makes them susceptible, or part of what makes them critically endangered, is that they are attracted to any kind of food source or any kind of stimulus source in the open ocean, and that includes like fishing boats. So they will actually hone in on fishing boats and get caught, pretty easily, and the open ocean is like a desert, and so there's not really a lot of places for this shark to, you know, hunt. So if it has the opportunity to go after a fishing boat, it will, and unfortunately, it will get hooked. So it's unfortunate because this is an amazing animal. It's also a very dangerous animal where oceanic whitetips are on the same tier as bull sharks, tiger sharks, and great whites. They are an amazing hunter with enormous serrated teeth, and they usually like to be further offshore, but it's cool that they're included in the Caribbean. And it makes sense they're included in the Caribbean, or Bahamian, Caribbean, tropical Atlantic biodiversity. It makes sense that they're there, and they're really cool. Not a shark, but kind of shout out to an oceanic manta ray. So these actually get enormous. It's kind of cool to see right here, 7 meters across. So that is about, let's see in feet, 23 feet? Do I have that right? Meters to feet. I think I have that right. Seven meters. Yep, 23 feet. So these are gorgeous, harmless plankton feeders. I've not seen wild manta rays. I was lucky to go to. I have been to the Bahamas before. It wasn't really like. It was like a family trip, so we were lucky enough to go to Atlantis. Was like the resort there, and they have this amazing aquarium with manta rays in it. And I don't think I really fully understood how enormous these things are, but if you can imagine the 7 meters and 23 feet, the ones that we saw were probably about the size of... They were big. Like a table. Like, they're really big. So, beautiful animals. Beautiful, harmless, peaceful, graceful animals. So it's really cool that they're part of the Caribbean ecosystem, and they actually are also part of the Atlantic ecosystem. They do go up the coast. You know what? I'm actually kind of curious now. Mobula birostris. Let's see how far up these go. Okay. Unfortunately, it's an endangered species. And I believe if I'm... yes, it is cosmopolitan. So, let's see. So manta rays... Actually, oh, that's actually really cool. Manta rays could be found all the way up to Massachusetts on the east coast of the United States. And that's actually really cool because that lines up right with the Virginia marine ecoregion. So, temperate subtropical waters. They can also be found in Iberia, so Portugal and southern Spain. I suspect if they could be found in Massachusetts, they could probably be found a little bit further north than this, but that's just kind of a guess. Maybe not quite to the United Kingdom. And the reason I say that, but maybe northern Spain and France. And the reason I say that is the Gulf Stream does bring, it does change into the North Atlantic Drift that brings warm water at higher latitudes in Northern Europe. So it may happen. I'm not really 100% sure, but pretty interesting distribution. It's kind of cool to see that manta rays can be found everywhere, or virtually everywhere in tropical, subtropical environments. So, let's see, where were we? The nurse shark, the classic shark, or classic nurse shark, just loves to sit on the seabed. Has an amazing ability to suction, like kind of like their mouths kind of work like a high-powered vacuum, where they have this amazing ability to suction out like mollusks, like whelks from their shells. And you have to imagine like whelks, or any kind of snail is very hard to dislodge from its shell, and the fact that a shark can do that via a suction power is just like really wild to think about. And I guess they have this mentioned here. So did you know that nurse sharks have super suction, said to be equivalent to 10 vacuum cleaners? So it's pretty wild. And actually, it's kind of like, it's not Delta P, but it is. I don't know if you guys heard of Delta P, which is a terrifying concept. Have you heard of this? Ooh, Bibia, have you done the crocodile shark? We have actually. The crocodile shark is so far it's our most popular stream, which is kind of funny. Like I did not expect the crocodile shark to be that, but let me see what episode that is. But yeah, great suggestion. Really cool species. Really cool like small open water cousin of great whites. So let's see. Crocodile shark. Stream number 18. Wow, that was kind of early. So yeah, let's see. Dr. Jaws live number 18. Crocodile shark. Awesome. So yeah, we have done that. It is our most popular episode actually. So please go ahead and check it out. It's kind of fun to see the sharks. Actually, let me see which sharks, the top 3 sharks, just out of curiosity. By the way, baby, I mentioned to Howard, you might be able to tell, I've had an extremely long day, just running around a lot. So if I seem kind of like tired or low energy, it's because I am tired and low energy. So apologies if I seem a little off. It's just like nothing bad. It's just like a long day, like long Monday, in a good way, but just busy. So, but yeah, let's see, popular. Okay, the top 3 are actually some of these are great choices. So, oh my goodness, I will not read that out loud, but I appreciate the comment. So, top 3 sharks we have on the stream so far. We've got crocodile shark. It's number 1. The big eye sand tiger. Have you, Bibia? Have you heard of big eye sand tigers? These guys are insane. They're really cool. And then actually, wow. Number 3 is the long-nosed saw shark. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. But I guess we have a lot of saw shark interest. Number 3, long-nosed saw shark. So. Let me pull up big eye sand tiger images because I have to share the shark. This is an amazing species and like Oh, hey, look at that, guys! Look at that! Oh, I just googled it. We are one of the top results. That's awesome. That's actually really cool. So yeah. My screen is a little bit zoomed out, but you have an illustration here. I'll get to the images in a little bit, but you also have a clip of our video, our Big Eye Sand Tiger video. So that's awesome. That's a badge of honor because this is one of the spookiest sharks in the world, and it's super cool looking, but really freaky. That's not a good image of it. There's us. So. Oh, there we go. That's a better image of it. Look at this. This is a real animal. This is a deep water sand tiger shark. They get to be pretty big. They have this beautiful, like almost completely black coloration with these large, needly teeth, big eyes. Like this is like a shark out of a true like Halloween movie. It's so cool and so creepy. And it's kind of ubiquitous. I think big eye sand tigers have a very large range. Let me make sure I got that right. So that is Odontaspis neuronhi. There you go, big eye sand tiger. It's also really nice to see that they're least concerned. So such a large, scary animal is actually doing fairly well conservation-wise. And I'm kind of right and kind of wrong. So kind of right in the sense that, or I'm going to start with kind of wrong. I'm kind of wrong in the sense that we've seen big eye sand tiger from select locations, right, around the world. But I'm kind of right in that the fact that it has such a large patchy distribution suggests that it may have a cosmopolitan distribution. It is a deep water species, and deep water habitat is kind of similar from basin to basin. So. But in the Americas, or North America, you can find big eye sand tigers in Texas and Mexico, in the Gulf of Mexico. And in Europe, you can find them off of Morocco and Portugal. And let's see, is this... I want to make sure I get this right. That's not the Azores. This might be. It's not. I don't know if this is one of the Canary Islands, but oh, here we go. Let's see. Parque Natural de Madeira. Okay, so I don't. I correct me if I'm wrong. If that might be. Let me see if that's one of the Canary Islands. Um, Canary Islands. I don't know if that's. It's not okay because the Canary Islands are down here, so I'm not sure which island this is, but we'll find out. The power of maps. Madeira. I'm sorry. So that's Madeira. So you can find sand tiger, big eye sand tigers off of Madeira. Gotcha. Okay. My apologies. So, and I should have known that actually. So, this species is also in South America, southern Brazil. I think I saw a couple pings in India, Indo-Pacific area, and I believe Hawaii. Did I see that right? Yes, Hawaii, southern Hawaii. So really cool species, very very patchy distribution there. So, but I'm very happy that it's number 2 on the stream because it's just such an incredible animal and so strange. So like, yeah, what a strange habitat. Some here and some there. Yeah. Oh, just like your comment, I suggest coffee. I just woke up, so I'll be drinking it soon. I wish I could. That's a great suggestion. It is 9:30 p.m. On the East Coast of the United States right now, so I need to go to bed after I do the stream. What I usually do is we usually do our streams for about 2 hours. And I'm usually up for another hour, kind of like editing, making sure, and by editing, like, making the thumbnail, kind of making sure the search algorithm, it lines up with like good keywords for sharks, so, which worked because we are top Google for the big eye sand tiger, which I'm really, really happy about. That's actually really cool. But I wish I could drink coffee this late. Sometimes I do. I don't know if let me know what you guys think. Do you guys ever do like evening coffees, like you have dessert somewhere and then you have like a little cup of coffee? Sometimes I'll do that, but usually if I have coffee after like 4, I get kind of jittery. It just kind of like, it's not good. So I am drinking. I probably should not have done this, but I am drinking black tea. So it's like I have a weird mix of lemon herbal tea with vitamin C and then lemon black tea. So that hopefully will kind of wake me up a little bit. The sharks will definitely wake me up. Talking with you guys definitely wakes me up. So I think sharks tea, good conversation. I think that might do the trick at the end of the day. But it's been a long day. But I think these will help. So, let's see. I guess we'll get out of Google. I was on Sharks for Kids. I think we only have a few left before we dive into tonight's species, the Antilles Catshark. So, silky shark, gorgeous, gorgeous shark, gorgeous species. Also an open ocean species. Beautiful. Sharks for Kids really brought their A game with the just these PDFs, like these like little fact sheets. These are super, super pretty looking. So really cool looking. But silky sharks are awesome. Very, very beautiful, fun dive species. This is awesome. This is not a shark. This is a ray. And actually, a challenge for... Oh, Howard, awesome. I can have coffee anytime, awesome. A challenge for... That's actually a superpower. That's actually really great. I wish I could do that because I would be goofy if I had coffee all the time, but that's really cool you could do that because I love coffee. I'm a big coffee fan, but it's like I'll have tea in the evenings and then coffee in the morning. I usually drink coffee black. I usually if I'm going out somewhere, I like having stuff in it, but if it's like coffee that I'm making, it's usually black. So, but interesting question for Bibia, and I'm asking Bibia specifically because Howard, I know you know the answer to this, and I kind of want to give Bibia a test, right? What makes this animal, the small-toothed sawfish, what makes this a ray as opposed to a shark? Like, why is this animal a ray? Like a batoid. What features make it technically a ray as opposed to a shark? And this is a good one to test on because, it has a lot of very shark-looking features. Guitarfish are a really good one to test too. But there's a couple things that you can identify, or you can use to identify, no, this is in fact a ray as opposed to a shark. I'll take it. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so gills are lower. Yes, that is correct. Now I'll take that. So specifically, the gills of all rays are on the underside of their body, whereas sharks have gills on the side of their head. The other thing too is that rays have their fins fused to their heads. I know that the sawfish has kind of like a little bit of an indent here, but it's still a fused head fin kind of thing, whereas sharks have their fins completely separate from their heads. So to kind of compare, you've got the silky shark has its head completely separate from the fins, and the gills are on the side of the head. This sawfish, which is a ray, has the gills on the underside of the body, and the fins are fused to the head. The eagle ray is a little tricky, but technically the fins are fused to the head. Like the head does look a little bit more protruding, but the fins actually do come right up to the head, and the gills are on the underside of it. So, and then where was the manta ray? There we go. You can actually see this really clearly. This is awesome. I mean, this is basically a swimming head. Like, the head and the fins are fused, and the gills are clearly on the underside of the head. So, this is a ray, this is a ray, this is a ray, this is a shark, this is a shark. Nurse shark is a good example too. The gills are on the side of the head, and the fins are separate. So, it's cool. Like, it's a fun trivia thing to ask. Like, I don't know. Like it's a fun parlor trick, if you will, where it's like, or a fun brain teaser. So ask your friends. What makes this animal a ray as opposed to a shark? And it's kind of fun because it's like it's very subtle. So like the details are subtle. This one's especially challenging because you have those prominent fins, but it's just that head and pectoral fin fusion, and the gills being on the underside of the head. As noted here, this animal is critically endangered. The small-toothed sawfish, I would say, is probably... I would say as far as like the east coast of North America, or sorry, the east coast of the Caribbean, North America, I would actually make a very strong argument. This is probably the most endangered elazabrink in this area. You could probably make an argument for oceanic white-tip sharks as well, maybe the hammerheads, but I feel really concerned for the small-toothed sawfish. It's a shallow water animal that easily gets entangled in fishing gear and was hunted, was poached quite often, and it's just like I'm really nervous about the fate of this species, to be honest. So we'll have to keep an eye on how small-toothed sawfish do. I would say of any kind of elazabrink on the East Coast, if I had to pick one as the most endangered, I might say this. Close second would be oceanic white-tip or the hammerheads, but this animal is definitely in a lot of trouble. So last shark here before we dive into tonight's species is the tiger shark. The classic, probably the easiest shark. This is probably the easiest dangerous shark to dive with. I have to think about that because I would not. It's kind of tricky, and let me know what you guys think. Of the four four truly dangerous sharks to have a wildlife encounter with, tiger sharks have been described as like puppies. Like they're like big dopey puppies. They are pretty comfortable with people, at least in ecotourism operations. And despite their size, they're pretty manageable. There's a great clip that I have somewhere here where we can kind of see that, and actually see some other species in the Caribbean Bahamas area. So let's take a look here. Boom, diving into the water. Here we go. So really immediately, lots of sharks in this area. These look like Caribbean reef sharks. This is a great hammerhead. Gorgeous shot of great hammerhead swimming against the sunlight. These are tigers and hammerheads right here. Oh my gosh. And there's a hammerhead going after some bait. And the hammerheads, even though they look okay, and that's a tiger. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, tigers are kind of it's still always going to be a dangerous animal. I mean, look at the mouth on that thing. It's a dangerous shark, but they tend to be a little bit. And there's a bull shark right there. I feel like tiger sharks tend to be a little bit more manageable than other species. So hammerheads, great hammerheads, they may look scary, but they're not nearly as dangerous as the others. But look at that. The tiger shark just being gently rubbed, pushed away. It's definitely inquisitive. It's definitely used to these divers, but, it's not like... I would say it's probably the easiest one to dive with as far as dangerous sharks. And then bull sharks, there's been a lot of successful ecotourism operations with bull sharks, so, it's possible to do that as well. Oceanic white tips, I would say, kind of possible. The most difficult one would be great whites, just because great whites are so... Oh, there you go. Actually, that's a great example of, like, never underestimate. Even if you're in a pretty calm situation, you still always want to respect these animals and be careful, with what you're working with. But great whites, there's a reason why great whites have cage diving for the most part. Whew, that's so dangerous. This is actually really cool. This diver is trying to do something to the shark. And let's slow this down. You might know this phenomenon. Wow, that's actually so dangerous. I'm gonna be honest, I would not be into this. Like, I would definitely be into diving with these sharks. I would not be into managing that mouth. I would be very, very nervous about that scenario. Especially since, like... So there's actually a lot going on in this clip. Okay, I have to rewind because so much is going on. So firstly, okay, this tiger shark, this female tiger shark, is approaching this diver. She's very accustomed to him and very accustomed to being hand-fed, which is a cause for concern. There's a lot of debate about ecotourism, whether or not that's a positive or negative thing on sharks. I think overall it's a net good, where it exposes people to the beauty of sharks, and it's a really cool way to showcase them and to kind of like be a cool touch point for conservation inspiration. So I think ecotourism for the most part is good, but it's not without criticism, where you're kind of disrupting the animal's habits. Now for this clip, this shark is getting too close to the diver, so the diver is managing it in the right way, which is he has his hand on her snout, and his upper hand, or one hand is on her snout, one hand is on her lower jaw. Now what he's trying to do, and you can kind of see it subtly here with her snout, is he's trying to rub it to kind of stimulate and overstimulate the ampullae lorenzini, and ultimately he's trying to create a sensation called tonic immobility. This is when a shark is kind of flipped over, and once it kind of flips over, it goes into a sleep-like state, kind of like a trance-like state. So this is what this diver is trying to do, and he's also trying to manage the jaws. This is such a dangerous situation because shark jaws, as we've discussed over and over again, they're protrusible. They're not connected to the skull. So a shark can lunge its jaws forward, and that's exactly what this tiger shark is trying to do. This is so dangerous, especially compared to, like, even think about tigers, think about lions. Tigers and lions have their jaws fused to their skulls. Sharks don't. Sharks can launch their jaws forward, and you can actually see that right here. Let me slow this down even further, just for a brief second, just so you can see this. And we can zoom in here. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, launching the jaw. Look at that. Look at the jaws launching forward, and it's such a scary situation. This is making my skin crawl because those teeth are literally razor sharp. That is a mouth full of razor blades coming at you. I know this because I've had shark jaws, and cleaned shark jaws. I've been cut by shark jaws. It's not fun. Like it is literally, it's not an exaggeration. It's literally a mouthful of razor blades. So this is a really dangerous situation for this diver to be in, and this diver handled it extremely well, actually. Let's zoom back one more time because I actually really think the technique here is pretty fascinating. So, okay. So different side angle of a tiger shark. I don't know if that's the same individual. Same thing here. Different side angle of a tiger shark. There's a lemon shark coming in at the bottom. So beautiful animals. I do love all sharks. I do love these sharks in particular. They're so cool. We actually have a rebounding population, or not population, but a rebounding. Well, actually, I guess rebounding population of tiger sharks that occur in Virginia. So, but here we go. So tiger shark is approaching the bait, is kind of interested in the guy. The diver has his hand on her snout. He's rubbing her snout. She's lunging her jaws forward. He's rubbing her snout and pushing her away and actually trying to successfully flip her. Trying to reorient her, put her in that tonic immobility. And she's kind of not entering... Well, she's still lunging at him a little bit with her jaws, so she's probably not fully entering that state. But you can see the nictitating membranes are actually closing on her. So she looks like she is in a situation where she feels like she's going after a prey item because those membranes are closing like eyelids. They're actually to protect the eyeballs. And they only happen, it's a reflex response for carchariniform sharks to protect the eyeballs during feeding. So that was a really scary situation where this shark thought she was going after a prey item in terms of how she approached that diver. But the diver handled it extremely well. So, and I could not do that. I could not do that yet. Maybe one day I could maybe manage a shark like that. I don't know if I would want to put myself in that situation of high risk. So, but yeah, this is a cute little tiger shark with Caribbean reef shark. That's actually a great size comparison between the two species. So, tiger shark and the little Caribbean reef shark right next to it. These are both, well, actually no, these are both carchariniforms, but these are two different families. There's a great hammerhead, amazing gnarly looking jaws. Nice shot of a tiger shark here. So great hammerheads look scary. They actually scared me as a kid, but they're actually not that menacing and not that dangerous compared to other shark species. So tiger sharks and bull sharks are far more concerning than great hammerheads. So, but overall, really cool footage, really cool clip. Oh, sorry, just, yes, okay, sorry guys, I got so excited about that, I needed to catch up on the comments. Oh, Howard, good call. Saw sharks have barbels, that's a good call. I forgot about that feature, actually, to distinguish saw sharks and sawfish, so really good comment. Let's see, tonic immobility, yep, shark becomes still and upside down to help with mating, but that would mean only for the shark. It would work only for the female shark. Interesting. That's actually really interesting. I didn't realize it was potentially a mating behavior. And now I'm trying to think of like when sharks do copulate, how that works as far as the orientation. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think both male and female sharks. It depends on the species, but they can be oriented in a lot of different ways. So, interesting. Induced behavior versus natural behavior. Yeah. Yeah. Carchariniforms. So, yes, Howard's right. Carchariniforms do have the nictitating membrane. So carchorhinoforms are the only sharks that have a nictitating membrane. And actually, that's actually really cool that the tiger shark was showing that off right when I said that. But carchorhinoforms are the only sharks that have that membrane. All other sharks don't have it. And that's actually why great white sharks roll their eyes in the back of their head, because they don't have that membrane. They're rolling their eyes in the back of their head to protect the eyeballs when feeding. So, yeah. But let's go back. I think we finished all the Sharks for Kids slides. So I think it's probably a good time now to dive into the Antilles Catshark. And it's not going to show me the full profile of the assessment, so we'll do this. We'll do fish base first, just to kind of meet the species that lives in the Caribbean and learn more about it. So, Galeus antilliensis, discovered in 1979. Here's an illustration of the Antilles Catshark. It's a little small. Okay. Whoops. I clicked a little too much. It looks actually quite similar to Galeus aurai, which might actually have been. This actually might have been described from that species. Let me see if I can get another picture of this somewhere. There we go. Okay. So here's a better full color illustration of this species. So this is the Antillean catshark. Has a really beautiful color pattern with these really nice dorsal saddles with prominent brown blotches, and actually really cool fin arrangement with small pectoral fins, squared off looking pelvic and anal fins, and then a lower caudal lobe that's slightly larger than the upper lobe, although the upper terminus is a little bit squared off. So like any catshark, is a classic bottom dwelling species, and with a really pretty color pattern here. So fishbase.com, the number one archive of animals, or of sharks and fishes, or sharks and other fishes, says, or points out, this is a deep water catsharks from the family Pentangidae. The Latin word galea, or galeos, is a small shark or dogfish, according to Aristotle. And Antilliensis is Latin suffix denoting the place in Antilles or West Indies, where the Leeward Islands type locality is situated. So apparently the original specimen was collected from the Leeward Islands in the Caribbean. Species lives in 150 to 700 meters, so lower sunlit zone to twilight zone. Deep water species. Northern slopes of Cuba, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, and many other leeward islands of the Caribbean southward to Martinique. Interesting little note here, not in Compagno 1999 checklist. That's actually pretty interesting. So this is like the Sharks of the World checklist. It's kind of interesting that it originally wasn't included. It's included now, but it's kind of interesting. Okay, no more fish-based notes, so we'll take a look at shark references. See if there's any new information. In Spanish is Gatica manchada. And that's all we got as far as new information, so let's check out conservation. This is a least concern species, and you can see its range right here. So we've actually got a few of them in the Bahamas and Florida as well. You have a few in Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Leeward Islands, Puerto Rico, and yeah, looks like just this area. Least concern. Let's see what's going on with this species. It's good to see that it's least concern, meaning that it's doing okay. The Antilles catshark is a small, deep-water shark with relatively restricted distribution in the Caribbean Sea, ranging from the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico to Venezuela. It occurs on upper insular slopes at depths of 293 to 695 meters. This species is common and occurs outside the depth range of current fishing activities, and therefore is not suspected to be taken as bycatch anywhere in its range. Population trend is unknown, although it is suspected to be stable based on the absence of fishing effort within its range. Therefore, there is nothing to infer or suspect population reduction at this time, and the species is assessed as least concerned. So it's actually really awesome that this is yet another shark that is doing pretty well. And I'm happy to say that there's quite a few sharks that are least concerned. It's sad that many of them are still not doing okay, and we could actually probably just take a look at the general conservation status of sharks right now. So this IUCN Red List website has a really cool advanced search feature where you can kind of break down its entire database and kind of do these interesting custom searches. So let's see. I think I did this recently. Let me see if I can drag this over for a better view. Is this going to help? Can you see this? Okay, that's better. So you can kind of see a little bit of what I'm doing here. So I'll be lurking, still watching, but I can't chat when my phone is recharging and watching TV. Oh, thank you, Vivia. No worries, no worries. So we'll do taxonomy. There's so many ways you can break this down. So I kind of want to see a number of how many sharks in each category, conservation-wise. How many do we have in each category? So let's see. We could break this down. Sharks are animals. Sharks are chordates, meaning that they have a notochord, which is kind of like the nerve cord. It is the nerve cord that most chordates have a backbone protecting that nerve cord. Sharks are in the class Chondrichthyes, so cartilaginous fish. And then we've got the orders that we'll have to hand select. So we've got Carchariniforms, which are the ground sharks. Oh, there you go. Squaliforms, the dogfish. Orlectolobiforms, the carpet sharks. Lamniforms, the mackerel sharks. Squatiniforms, the angel sharks. Hyxantiforms, the cow sharks. Heterodontiforms, the bullhead sharks. And Prisciophoriforms, the saw sharks. And then we're going to leave out everything else because it's either a ray or a chimera. And then from that, we should be able to get the red list categories. So here we go. Okay. So this is what I wanted. I kind of wanted to see on the left here the proportion of sharks. So we've got data deficient, which is 76. Let me see if we could do... I wonder if I could do quick math on this. Okay, actually, yes, I can. Okay, so give me 1 second. Okay, 76 plus 253 plus 50 plus 76 plus 58 plus 35. So 548 sharks. That's actually really incredible that 548 sharks are on the IUCN Red List website. That actually is roughly every species known to man. So that's awesome. So 548, right? When you take that total number and apply these different categories, about 14% of sharks are data deficient, meaning we don't really know a lot about them. 76 sharks, or 14% of all known sharks, we don't really have a lot of information on them, which is really interesting. 2, 3. Oops. 46% of sharks are least concerned. That's nearly half, which is really encouraging, and I'm very, very grateful to see that. I feel like in the last couple streams, we rightfully were talking about a lot of like conservation concern, a lot of doom and gloom, which is appropriate. But it is really cool to see that many sharks are doing okay. 46% is a pretty significant number of sharks. An additional 50 are near threatened. So let's do that. 50 divided by 548. That's 9% of sharks are near threatened. Let's see. 253 divided by 548 plus 9. Well, that's annoying. 46, 50. Okay, sorry. Hold on. 46 plus 9. Okay, so 55% of sharks right now, over half of sharks are currently pretty okay. Now, on the one hand, that's really exciting and really encouraging. On the other hand, that means half of all sharks are not okay, to varying degrees. So we'll take a look at that other half. So 76 sharks are vulnerable. So 76 divided by 548. So 14% of sharks are vulnerable species. 58 are endangered. So about 11% of sharks are endangered. And then 35 are critically endangered. So about 6%. So right now, it's not looking. It's weird. It's like I have mixed emotions where that's a significant amount of sharks that are not doing okay. But I'm also really excited and encouraged to see that many sharks, more than half, are actually okay. Where it's like least concern is there's nothing wrong with the species population. They're okay. Near threatened is there's still nothing wrong, but there's something about the species biology that concerns us where it may be at risk in the future. And then vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, there's something wrong. Like these sharks are not handling fishing pressure well. They are subjugated to like pollution, climate change impacts, other forms of human intervention. Like they are really being exploited or just like targeted fishing wise. And it's weird. It's like I on the one hand, given all of the conversation about how sharks need our help and how sharks are not doing well, I'm encouraged to see that such a significant amount of sharks are actually okay. That gives me hope. But on the other hand, just as there's like more than half of shark species are doing okay, nearly half of shark species are not doing okay. So it's kind of a weird glass half empty, half full kind of thing. So, but I wanted to take a look at that. And thank you for indulging me because I think it's interesting to see. It shows you how awesome IUCN Redlist is as a tool. So I'm going to put this in the chat if anybody wants to kind of play around with that metric. So, and we can actually take it a step further a little bit. Let's see how each order is doing. And we'll do it really briefly. But Carcharodontiformes, and that I'll go ahead and unselect these. And we're just going to eyeball it. I won't calculate it like I did for total sharks. So roughly half of all sharks, more than half of all sharks are pretty okay. Carcharodontiformes, which has 296 species, 136 are least concern. So many of these guys are doing okay, but you have 24 critically endangered Carcharodontiformes, 30 endangered Carcharodontiformes. So, still a concerning amount of sharks that are not doing well, but the majority of this order seems to be pretty okay. Squaliformes, the dogfish sharks, let's see how they're doing. You have one critically endangered species, 15 endangered, 16 vulnerable. Most of them are least concerned. So the lantern sharks, probably. These guys are outside of human pressure, so they're probably doing okay. Let's check out Dilophoformes, the carpet sharks. We have a critically endangered species. Now this is a little worse. Yeah, 4 endangered species, 1 critically endangered species, 12 vulnerable species, versus 17 least concerned, 6 threatened. So half of the sharks are okay, half of them are really not okay. Lambda and macro sharks, I'm nervous about how this is going to go. Let's see. What just happened? Lambdiformes. There we go. Okay, so this is actually pretty bad. So lambdiformes and mackerel sharks. So these are like the great whites, the makos. One of these is critically endangered. That's a sand tiger shark. 5 species are endangered. 4 are vulnerable. So it's 10 species, right? And then only 5 are least concerned. So most of the lambdiformes are not doing okay. And we can actually, it's a very small order, so we can actually break this down. The megamouth is okay. The is least concerned. The basket shark is endangered. The pelagic thresher is endangered. The poor beagle is vulnerable. The sand tiger shark is critically endangered. The great white or white shark is vulnerable. Salmon shark is least concerned. Short fin mako is endangered. Crocodile shark is least concerned. It's actually going up in population, which is pretty interesting. Big eye sand tiger is fine as well. Goblin sharks are doing great. Small tooth sand tiger is endangered. Big eye thresher is vulnerable. Common thresher is vulnerable, and the long fin mako is endangered. So it's interesting to see lambdaforms. As an order is not in a great spot. So proportionally, a lot of endangered or a lot of threatened species in lambdaforms. Squatiniforms, the angel shark's probably a lot worse. Oh, that's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but still pretty bad. 8 critically endangered angel sharks, 4 endangered, 1 vulnerable, 3 near threatened, 6 least concerned, 2 data deficient. So angel sharks mostly are not doing well. Hexantiforms, I promise we'll get off this. I just find this really interesting. The cow sharks are actually doing pretty okay. So like the 6 gills, 7 gills, there's only 1 vulnerable species, and the rest are least concerned or near threatened. So they're actually pretty okay. Heterodontiforms, the bullhead sharks, are all least concerned or data deficient. So this is kind of funny. This right now, conservation-wise, these are kind of the most successful sharks. When you think of a shark order, is these bullhead sharks. These sharks don't really get caught by fishermen. They spend so much of their time in rocky seabeds. They lay eggs and reproduce fairly quickly compared to other sharks, but lay eggs in rock crevices. Their pups are well camouflaged and go into like all these like environments that fishermen don't really interfere with as much. And famously, when we discussed on the stream, like the Port Jackson shark, when fishermen catch the Port Jackson shark, they throw it back. So it's actually nice to see that Heterodontiforms as an order, none of these species are threatened. So this actually is kind of cool to see that this is arguably, in the face of human change, in the face of the Anthropocene, this might be the most successful shark, which is the cute horn shark. So it's pretty interesting to see that. Finally, let's take a look at saw sharks, just out of curiosity. The Pristiophoriforms. I am actually completely surprised that these are also doing very well as an order. Saw sharks are least concerned or near threatened or data deficient. That's actually unbelievable because sawfish, as I mentioned, are critically endangered. So sawfish are really not doing well, but saw sharks are completely fine. So it's really fascinating stuff. As far as a shark for next week, it might be kind of fun to do a saw shark because we haven't talked about saw sharks in a while. So let me know what you guys think. There's a couple of really interesting ones here. Kaja's 6-gill saw shark, or the African dwarf saw shark, or tropical saw shark. So it might be kind of cool. But we'll get back to our cat shark. But I appreciate you guys indulging me as far as taking a look at conservation statuses, and it's interesting to see as like a rough metric. Roughly more than half the sharks are okay. Almost half of all sharks are not okay. The lambdaforms is probably the order that's the worst off. And the squatiniforms. So the angel sharks and mackerel sharks are not doing great. But the bullhead sharks, heterodontiforms, and the saw sharks, Pristiophoriforms, are actually doing well. So pretty interesting stuff. I think we'll continue learning more about the Antilles Catshark. There's not a lot of research on the species, but we'll see what we can learn, and then we'll check out some more sharks of the Caribbean before wrapping up for tonight. So, let's take another sip of tea. It's strange. It's like, I'm an optimist, and I'm definitely a conservation optimist, so I get very happy when I see sharks doing well and sharks surviving everything that has happened so far. But it is interesting. It's kind of surprising in a weird way, and it's sad that it's a surprise. But this is a study. We won't read the whole thing, but This does feature our cat shark kind of often. So, and I think this is kind of more like comparing physical morphology. So let's see. Combined phylogeny, new classification of cat sharks. Here we go. This is by Kara D.A. Soares and Kleber Mathubara. This is the first study to combine morphological and molecular characteristics to infer the phylogenetic relationships among cat sharks. All currently valid genera classified in the family Scalorhinidae and representatives of other carcharinoid families, plus one lamnoid and two electroloboids, were included as terminal taxa. A total of 143 morphological characters and 44 this is DNA and ADH2 sequences were analyzed. Parsimony analysis under different weighting schemes and strengths were used to generate hypotheses of phylogenetic relationships. The phylogenetic analysis of 78 terminal taxa using the combined dataset and weighting each column separately resulted in one of the most parsimonious cladogram of 4,441 steps with the greatest internal resolution of clades and strongest support. So this is basically making a really cool cat shark family tree that has a lot of data behind it, I guess, is a way to sum it up. The main changes in nomenclature and classifications are the revised definition and scope of Scalorhinidae, Aprosteris, and Pentantius, and the revalidation of Atelomictoridae. So this is a resurrection of a family of cat sharks where we realize that the genetics are saying, hey, these are actually two very distant groups of animals, or distantly related groups of animals. The monophyly of Pentantidae is supported, as is that of most cat shark genera. The two new subfamilies of the family Pentantidae are defined, Halilurini and Galeoni. So our Antilles Catshark is probably in the subfamily Galeoni. Our analysis emphasizes the relevance of morphological characters in the interference of evolutionary history of carcharinoids and sheds light on the taxonomic status of some genera in need of further exploration. So I do want to see the big cat shark family tree. I'm just going to zoom forward to any time our cat shark is mentioned. Let's see. This is about dermal denticles, so they're saying that there's a specific feature in dermal denticles. This is about muscle. More dermal denticles. Claspers. So they're actually looking at all these physical features. More about claspers. So there's the male shark organs for mating. More about claspers. Color. Okay, black spots on body dorsolateral surfaces are observed in the electroloboids, the prosculid, and then our cat shark. So it's interesting that color is taken a note here, noting that, hey, it's important to note that we have this shark has dark spots. This kind of cat shark has dark spots versus other kinds of cat sharks. And there's quite a few benthic sharks and cat sharks that have similar spots and blotches, but yeah. Okay, so this might be the cat shark family tree. Okay, cool. Okay, gotcha. So this is the cat shark family tree. This is like the super cat shark family tree. So you have, and actually let me zoom in on this for a better view, because it's actually really cool. So you have this really well-informed family tree where you have the other galeomorphs, so these are like lamniforms, electrolobiforms, heterodontiforms. These are the other orders of sharks, and then you have carchariniforms here, right? The most basal family of cat sharks is Scalorhinidae. So these are like the chain cat shark, like the famous East Coast chain cat shark. Scaleorhinus radifer is here. There's actually quite a few famous species. Proderma, Cephaloscilium. Um, which one is this? I think. Hold on. I'm looking something up really quick. Swell sharks. Okay, so Cephaloscilium is swell sharks. So the classic cat sharks and swell sharks are in this Scaleorhinidae family, which is like the blue one. Kind of evolving from that, you have Atelomictoridae and Pentantidae. Atelomictoridae is green, Pentantidae is pink, and then splitting off from Pentantidae are all the other Carcharodontiforms. So these are like the smoothhounds, the hammerhead sharks, the bull sharks. They all kind of broke off from this basal group. And it's kind of cool because cat sharks are very long, slinky, narrow, small sharks that like to be on the seabed. And it's kind of cool that when you get further and further down Carcharodontiforms in order, the sharks get a little bit more robust. They get a little bit more compressed. They get a lot bigger. They become like, the morphology turns into like these like bigger predatory sharks. It's really cool actually. So you have this family. So this is Pentantidae. You have this really cute name, Figaro, cat shark, Esymbolus, Haploblepharus, which these are like the Eddies and Isaacs. These are like, or the shy sharks. These are sharks that cover their faces with their tails, which is kind of funny. Aprosturus, the deep water cat sharks, also known as demon cat sharks and ghost cat sharks. What's kind of cool is that you can see from this tree that when this family Pentantidae broke off, you have kind of this weird split where you have Galeus splitting from Aprosturus and the other ones. So Galeus being like deep water cat sharks, but they're not like Aprosturus, like the demon cat sharks, including our Antilles Catshark, Galeus antilliensis. But then you have other Galeus animals that kind of split off more basally, like than that. So it's kind of interesting to see that. And it's interesting to see that the Galeus, which is a colorful cat shark group, like a colorful kind of saw-tailed cat shark, is more closely related to like the demon cat sharks or the ghost cat sharks. Let me pull up a demon cat shark just to show you. Cat shark. This is why it's called demon cat shark. Just they're spooky. They're deep water sharks that are like very freaky looking. There we go. So they're really cool, but they have large eyes. They live in the abyss, and it's kind of cool to see that this is a distant cousin of Galeus, which is tonight shark. So tropical saw shark. Yes, that actually sounds really good. I just saw your comment, Howard. Yeah, I'd definitely be down for that. Let's see. Checking Sharks of the World to get the name. There we go. Pristiophorus delicatus. There we go. Okay, tropical saw shark Pristiophorus delicatus. That was a great pick for next week. So thank you. That's a great choice. So. Let's go back to... I was looking at the cat shark family tree. Oh, did I already click away from it? No, there it is. Okay. So I was trying to illustrate, it is really interesting to see that... there we go. This shark, even though it's colorful, it's a twilight species. It's kind of interesting to see that genetically, it's kind of somewhat related to this shark, these deep water Aprosturus cat sharks. So it's pretty interesting to see that kind of relationship. So, like evolutionarily, they're not that distant from each other. So pretty interesting stuff. More versions of the potential relationship between the cat sharks. Excuse me, Galeus and Aprosturus are still close together. And it looks like they did a lot of revisions. And I'm just gonna kind of look ahead just to see if there's any. Here we go. Galeus antilliensis is hypothesized as a sister group of Galeus melastomus and Galeus pauli, and is characterized by lower numbers of upper and lower teeth and mandibular pore counts, clasper hooks on the medial border of the exorhipidion, terminal dermal cover absent on clasper glands, and accessory terminal cartilage and a clasper absent, and vertical terminal cartilage of the clasper present. So this is like really detailed, very, very minute physical features that you unite two species that make them more monophyletic with each other. So interesting. When only morphological characters are considered, a closer relationship between the clade formi Galeus, Apersturus, and Pentantius, and another composed by higher carcharodontids except proscilids, is supported by labial furrows and discontinuous two median ridges on dermal denticles and labial ridge absent on the quadrate process. Interesting. Okay, so this is basically saying it's reiterating was kind of saying that it's interesting that this is a cousin of deepwater cat sharks, aka demon cat sharks. It's pretty interesting. So, okay, we'll kind of continue. Let's see. Probably not that. I think we already reviewed this. Or maybe not. This is actually, I think, a different study. This is a different study, sorry. Phylogenetic relationship of cat shark species of the genus Scalerinus based on comparative morphology. The genus Scalerinus is part of the family Scalerinidae, the most diverse family of sharks, and the subfamily Scalerinae, along with Cephaloscalium and Poroderma. This study reviews the phylogenetic relationships of the species Scalerinus and the subfamily Scalerinae. Specimens of all Scalerinus species were examined, as well as specimens of 4 of 18 species of Cephaloscalium. Looks like our cat shark is not in here, so I'm just going to skim through this and see if they have any interesting notes. Let's see. They do have a cool little microscopic view of the dermal denticles, which is F right here. So this is the dermal denticles of the Antilles Catshark. So it's kind of cool to see. Every shark, no matter what kind of shark it is or where it lives, it does have a dermal denticle. So these are the scales that are basically like teeth. They help reduce drag. You can actually see how well this cuts through the water. I believe the U.S. Navy actually was developing a technology, and this was a long time ago. This is like 20 years ago. But they were trying to develop a technology for their submarines and ships that mirrored dermal denticles, which is like, it's like the way their hulls were designed was to mirror this kind of feature on sharks to help reduce drag, so that it would make ships go faster while utilizing less power. So it's kind of amazing to think about, and a little freaky to think about. That's a very energy efficient ship. So, let's see. But it is actually kind of a cool example of like learning from nature and applying natural phenomenon to capabilities. So, this is interesting. So, if I'm not mistaken, the caudal crest of the Antilles Catshark. So if I'm not mistaken, yes. Okay. So part of the reason why this group of sharks is called sawtail cat sharks is that they have this little feature on their caudal fins or tail fins. So, and these are like kind of very enlarged dermal denticles. That is kind of cool. It gives them like a cool dragon tail experience, or dragon tail appearance. It's kind of a cool feature that makes sawtail cat sharks, sawtail cat sharks. We covered a rough-tailed cat shark on one of the streams, but I don't think it was really as evident as this in terms of like how pronounced the dermal denticles are on the tail. So it's actually really cool to see this in detail. Again, I kind of like the idea of calling them dragon sharks. You know, it's just there's something about this that is just so reminiscent of like, you know, like a fantasy dragon. You know, like a Western dragon, like Smaug. So it's super cool. So sorry, Smaug. There we go. Smaug the calamitous. So we'll keep going here. Hyperbrachiomusculature. So what's kind of cool about these studies, and like it is getting into the weeds. They get into the minutia of like how the muscles oriented, how the jaws are shaped to just like the tiniest detail. So we won't spend too much time on that. I'll just point out things like the sawtail that I think are kind of interesting, but it's kind of fascinating. There's so much effort on revising cat sharks and making sure that we have them correct, and it makes sense because it is such a speciose group of sharks. So, okay, I think that's all we got on our species. So. Again, one last view of the sawtail on the Antilles Catshark. So that alone is actually really cool. It's kind of cool to see a shark with like such an interesting like chainsaw tail. It's just very interesting. All right. The systematics and reproductive biology of the Galeus RI subspecific complex. So this is like the famous. I believe this is the blackmouth cat shark. This is like the famous Galeus cat shark. Yeah, Howard, absolutely agree. Great shot of that feature. It's super cool looking. So, Galeus Rai. Oh, sorry. This is by Hera Constantinou, John D. McEachran, and James B. Woolley. So, Galeus Rai is currently classified as a complex of 3 subspecies: Galeus Rai, Galeus Rai antillensis, and then Galeus Rai cadenati. Morphometric and meristic analyses, size of maturity, and variation in color patterns support the recognition of these taxa as distinct species. All species have well-developed nidamental glands and are oviparous, meaning egg-laying. Galeus aurai comprises 2 geographically disjunct populations that are not distinguishable by the characters we examined. A northern population occurs along the east and Gulf coast of North America, from South Carolina to the Mississippi Delta, and the northern coast of Cuba to the northeastern tip of the Yucatan. A southern population occurs along the Caribbean coast of Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica, and some neighboring islands. Galeus antillensis occurs in the northern coast of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, and off many of the Leeward Islands. Galeus cadenati occurs off the Caribbean coast of Panama and Colombia. Distributional data suggests that these 3 species are distributed allopatrically. Interesting. So, that was a lot, but what's really cool, just to kind of reemphasize, let me see if I can get a picture of Galeus aurai. For comparison. And yeah, that's a pretty good picture. So, alright, let's see if we can put this here. Okay. Actually, it really does show you how difficult it is to tell these species apart. Okay, that's actually a beautiful picture right there. That's Galeus melastomus. I guess we'll do this one, Galeus aurai right here. So. And I'm sorry, this is the rough-tailed cat shark. Galeus melastomus is the blackmouth cat shark, so my apologies, that was my bad on that. But anyway, here we go. So this is the Antilles Catshark, tonight's species. And then this is the rough-tailed cat shark, Galeus aurai. So, Galeus antillensis, Galeus aurai. So originally, these 2 were considered to be the same species, and they formed something called a species complex, We've talked about it a little bit before, but I think it's a really cool and kind of wild phenomenon where there are many groups, there are many sharks species hiding in plain sight. Where the bull shark is my favorite example, where we believe that bull sharks are also a species complex. And what a species complex is that what we think of as a single species is actually like 3 or 4 species hiding in plain sight. So what's really cool is like that's exactly what happened with Galeosauri, or the rough-tailed cat shark. Is that this was originally a complex of 3 different species, and scientists later discovered that, oh my gosh, these are all different, so we're going to break this up into their correct, species. So this is now the Antilles Catshark. It's a completely different species. Here's the rough-tailed cat shark, completely different species. Those are successfully divided. And the reason they should be divided is that they reproduce differently, they occupy different habitats. Human impact on these animals is going to be a little bit different. So for the bull sharks, we talked about it before, but to recap, the last I've heard of that study was that there are 3 bull sharks currently existing in the world. There's the Atlantic population, the Indo-Pacific population, and the South African population. So, which I'm hoping that they call that one the Zambezi shark. I think that'll be really cool. So, but species complex are a really cool field in shark science. I think it's an exciting area to study, where the concept that sharks hiding in plain sight is like a really cool concept to me. I suspect that sandbar sharks actually might be a species complex, because they, depending on where you are in the world, they do look pretty different. There's just something about their shape that looks different, but I have not seen research on that, but that might be kind of worth investigating. So, it's 10:34, so we'll kind of breeze through the rest. I know that was a lot of research, and we might wrap up kind of taking a look at just ecotourism in the Bahamas, just for fun. So, this is Shark Angels. I'm just skimming through this. I think it's interesting that this diver is wearing a chainmail suit. It's actually kind of cool that it's a Scuba Pro chainmail suit. I can't tell if that's a Scuba Pro chainmail suit, or if this is a chainmail suit over Scuba Pro gear. But I love Scuba Pro. They're really cool. They make good stuff. So, okay, this is why I wanted to read this. This has an interesting summary of the Bahamas. I know it's not quite the Caribbean technically, but the Antilles Catshark does live in the Bahamas, so it's kind of a cool summary of like Bahamian law when it comes to sharks. So we'll kind of skim through this. Often considered to be the shark capital of the world, the Bahamas is home to at least 40 species of shark, including Caribbean reef, oceanic whitetips, great hammerheads, tigers, and bull sharks. The Bahamas is comprised of a chain of islands in the Atlantic Ocean. It's currently the only nation in the world to create a shark sanctuary out of the entire marine habitat that surrounds the islands, covering 243,000 square miles. That's actually really cool. A common phrase among shark conservationists is sharks are worth more alive than they are dead, both in ecological and economical terms. This is especially true in the Bahamas, where tourism accounts for approximately 50% of the gross domestic product and employs about half of the nation's labor force. The islands reached a record high of 7 million visitors in 2019, and shark diving alone brings in over $100 million in revenue each year. In 1993, the Bahamas banned longline fishing, a type of commercial fishing technique in which hundreds or even thousands of hooks are deployed off a single line. While longline fishing can be a good technique for catching target fish, it is often harmful to other marine wildlife when the line is deployed. So this is the big part of bycatch in the Atlantic. In the Mid-Atlantic region, for the sharks that are in my backyard, they are victims of bycatch from longline operations. So it's actually really cool that Bahamas forbids it. That's actually really cool that the Bahamas are a shark sanctuary, and I did not know that prior. That's actually really, really cool. Non-target species such as sharks, rays, and turtles are frequently caught on long lines and suffer injury or death. Banning longline fishing in the Bahamas created protections for sharks and other marine life in the Bahamas, allowing for populations to remain at sustainable levels. The longline fishing amendment helped to ensure healthy populations of sharks, but it took 18 years to enact a law addressing protection specifically for sharks. After a seafood company in the Bahamas announced plans to export shark meat to Hong Kong in 2010, the Bahamas National Trust, Pew Environmental Group, and other environmental activists campaigned for an explicit law protecting sharks in the Bahamas, and on July 5, 2011, the Bahamas passed a law banning commercial shark fishing as well as selling and trading of shark products. This new amendment to the Fisheries Resource Act effectively protected the Bahamas' territorial waters, approximately 243,000 square miles, creating the Bahamas National Shark Sanctuary. That is really encouraging, guys. It's super, super cool. Laws and loopholes. Let's see. The Bahamas enacted the Restriction on Longline Fishing Amendment in 1993, which prohibits the possession and use of longline fishing equipment. Okay. This ban is often credited as the first step to the conservation effort of sharks. Okay, this is interesting. As well as supporting a thriving marine ecosystem overall. Eliminating longline fishing has also supported local fishermen whose livelihoods depend on ample stocks of fish, as long as longline fishing can cause fish stocks to deplete and ecosystems to collapse. The amendment has been effective in eliminating the vast majority of longline fishing in the Bahamas. However, illegal activity can still occur. In 2014, it was noted that increasing amounts of fishing line, hooks, and cables had washed up on beaches in southern Abaco Island, which likely indicates an increase of longline fishing activity. It is suspected that longline fishing vessels come from international locations, arriving at night to avoid detection and prosecution. What's interesting about this now is as GPS, radar gets better, AI gets better. I don't know. I like this. I could see a benefit to, increasing technology with increasing monitoring of poaching. That's an interesting kind of thing to think about. Where I feel like some of our detection systems are getting better and better and better, and as time goes on, this stuff like this, going into a location at night to, poach, it's going to be harder to do as time goes on, and I'm very grateful for that, actually. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Fisheries Resource Act Shark Fishing Amendment, July 2011. Following the successful campaign for an explicit law protecting sharks on July 5, 2011, the Shark Fishing Amendment was passed, granting unprecedented protections for sharks in the Bahamas. It's really cool. The Shark Fishing Amendment turned the Bahamas territorial waters into a shark sanctuary. The law prohibits any citizen or visitor in the Bahamas from possessing or fishing for shark or shark parts, prohibits the sale of any shark or shark parts in the Bahamas, and prohibits the importation or exportation of any shark or shark products. Should a shark accidentally be caught while fishing in the Bahamas, the shark is to be immediately returned to the sea unharmed, in accordance with Section 36E of the law. If a person or research organization wishes to conduct research and education on sharks, they must apply for a permit allowing them to fish or possess sharks for these purposes only. The Shark Fishing Amendment has been effective in eliminating shark fishing, though it is possible that black market occurrences still happen. However, even before the law was passed, it was difficult to find any legal shops that would take a visitor shark fishing due to positive opinions on the island and economic benefits to the Bahamas. So, I'm going to read these off in a second. But I just want to say this is extremely cool, and I actually did not realize that there was such a protection effort in the Bahamas. I knew that Bahamas were an enormously important location for shark ecotourism and research. The Bimini Biological Field Station, very, very famous location with a lot of really cool programs. But that's actually really cool that the Bahamas are a sanctuary for sharks, and for me personally, it makes me very happy. Because a lot of the Bahamian sharks also occur in Florida waters and are migratory species that move up from that part of the world, like Florida, Bahamas, tropical area, to the temperate zone, the mid-Atlantic coast, in the summer. So specifically, bull sharks, tigers. We rarely have great hammerheads, but really black tips are a big one. Black tips, bull sharks, and tigers, they come from these areas to my backyard. So the idea of having a shark sanctuary, a safe place for these sharks to be, to live, to grow, to reproduce, it's the benefit of marine protected areas where it's like by having a safe place for these sharks to live and reproduce, you're benefiting the surrounding oceans. Like everything outside the Bahamas, adjacent to the Bahamas, is immediately getting that benefit of just sharks migrating out of that area north, and having a positive impact on the marine environment in those other areas. And it's just super, super cool that that investment in that area can actually benefit nearby areas too. So and that's like the idea of marine protected areas, and it's such a cool thing. So what you can do. So residents of the Bahamas report any illegal shark activity to the Department of Marine Resources in the Bahamas. Residents can continue to show support for the shark sanctuary, as well as support any new pro-shark laws or amendments that may be introduced in the future. Likewise, even if you don't live in the Bahamas, I think it's really cool to reach out and figure out who your, depending on where you live, like who your marine resource contact is. I have done that a couple times. Once, I did it in college once for something about hammerheads, and I can't remember what it was. I did it recently, I would say maybe 3 years ago. I reached out to the Virginia Marine Resource Commission because someone was posting a video about, like, they didn't land a white shark, but they were kind of like hooking a white shark, and it's like, that is a big no-no. You cannot do that. Like, you can't touch white sharks. They are a protected species, and just kind of brought it to their attention and asked, like, hey, can you just let them know that they really shouldn't be bragging about this, because this is really not legal, and this is also just wrong, but it's illegal. And I think it's really cool that you as a viewer, or you as a lover of sharks, like, there's a lot of things that you can influence. Another thing that I know they're not talking about this, but that I like to do is I have asked the Virginia Aquarium to update some of their information, especially when it relates to conservation. And they actually, very, very cool people, took my advice, and they actually did it. They corrected, they had outdated information on sand tiger sharks and sandbar sharks, and I asked them to correct it, and they did it. I did that for an Oregon aquarium, and I can't remember what it was, but they had a weird thing about, I think they called a horn shark a kind of bull shark, and I called them out on it. I was like, no, please don't do that. I did it very politely, because you don't want to be that guy, but, like, it is important to engage if you see something not so right. It's important to engage and kind of call that out. And I think it's really cool and very empowering to do that, where, when we talk about conservation, it seems so overwhelming, and it feels like so much is out of our control. But there's little things that we can do here and there that actually do make a difference and have an impact. And I feel like a lot of these conservation organizations, whether that's an aquarium or the Department of Marine Resources, they want to help too. They want to make sure that those animals are okay, or that they're being represented in the right way. So they're very collaborative, in my experience. Like, they're very supportive and very willing and engaged if you have something to say. So if you want to reach out to them. So I highly encourage that. Kind of being familiar with who those resources are. And I really think that's really cool that this Shark Angels website is kind of like talking about that a little bit too. So, Oh, Howard, just saw your comment, especially safe nurseries, mangroves. Yes. Protection for those areas, 100%. I'm going to start that, because I 100% agree. That's just vital nursery habitat for, like juvenile shark species, especially the lemons, so lemon sharks. We actually do have lemon sharks in the Mid-Atlantic too. That's another summer visitor. So, and they actually might be coming from the Bahamas, which is wild to think about. Very grateful for this nursery. So, or not this nursery, the sanctuary is so cool. Visitors, if fishing, release any shark accidentally caught immediately back into the ocean. Resist posing for selfies with the captured shark, as certain species such as hammerheads are susceptible to dying after being manipulated for those types of pictures. Verify that any shark diving operation is ethically and efficiently run to ensure safety of both divers and the sharks. So on that note, I would recommend if anyone wants to go to the Bahamas, and for this point specifically, I would recommend trying to find an operation that is associated with SSI, which is my scuba school. Scuba. Oh, hold on. Oh wait. Okay, I was about to represent SSI. Scuba. This is Monday. This is not. Hold on. It's something international. It's Scuba Schools International. Scuba. Hold on. Oh, I'm crashing and burning. I love SSI. What does it mean? Hold on. Scuba Schools International. Okay, sorry. Scuba Schools International is the best. SSI is the best. I said it. Because usually people say Patty is the best. And I'm like, Patty is very good. SSI is the best. So, sorry. It's my home school. I love SSI. It's very cool. But both are really good. So, point being, if you do go to the Bahamas, if you do go shark diving, I would highly recommend being in an area or being with an operator that is SSI verified or PADI verified. There's some other very good ones too. I can't think of them at the top of my head, but just you usually have good quality with PADI and SSI. But really go with SSI because just they are the folks that taught me, and they're super cool. So sorry, but they're really cool. Cool pictures, and this is actually really exciting. The one on the left is an oceanic white tip. So that's actually really cool to see. We talked about before, kind of a dangerous species, and more of an ocean species, but it's actually really cool to see it on this website. Another great hammerhead. I think this is an oceanic white tip from the head on. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle. Gorgeous shot of a tiger shark here. So, yeah. Oh, where to dive with sharks. Here we go. With healthy shark populations and dozens of species, most every island in the Bahamas will provide visitors with the opportunity to snorkel or scuba with various shark species. There's several islands that are specifically notable for some of the best shark dives in the world. Bimini. So Bimini is a big deal. Great hammerheads migrate to the waters of Bimini every year from December to mid-April, with peak times from January to March. Cat Island. Cat Island is one of the last safe havens for oceanic white tips. March and June are best months for catching a glimpse of these pelagic sharks. Grand Bahama Island, Tiger Beach. Tiger Beach offers many shark species to dive with, notably tiger sharks, which can be found year-round. That's actually really cool. New Providence Island. Nassau, the capital of the Bahamas, is situated on New Providence Island, offers great shark diving year-round, especially silky sharks and Caribbean reef sharks. Andros offers divers a chance to see whale sharks. That's actually really cool. Eleuthera, Long Island, and San Salvador. On these three separate islands in the Bahamas, divers have a chance to encounter many species of sharks, including bull sharks, blacktip reefs? Interesting. Caribbean reef and gray reef sharks. I don't know how accurate that is. Because I thought blacktip reefs and gray reefs are Indo-Pacific species, so... Hammerheads, oceanic white tips, and tiger sharks. The Exumas. The Exumas are a chain of islands or cays in the Bahamas, the largest of which is Great Exuma. The Exumas are another location where divers can swim with several species of sharks, from bulls, Caribbean reef sharks. Especially popular, though, are the nurse sharks, where people can swim up close to these laid-back sharks year-round. So, I think rather than just reading about them, let's see if we can take a look at them. Let's watch a little bit of this. Whoop, sorry for the audio blast. That was really brief. Little bit of this so we can kind of see. Any ideas what shark this is? It's a species that is near the surface. And this is kind of spoiling it. Beautiful whale shark. So, beautiful whale shark. This one looks like he might be filter feeding. near the surface looking for plankton. But it's so cool to see just like that beautiful squared off snout, if you will. And it's actually kind of funny to see this individual is behaving a lot like a basking shark, just being right up to the surface. So there we go. So really cool opportunity in the Bahamas to be. I didn't realize actually you could dive with whale sharks in Andros Island in the Bahamas. I know the Gulf of California or Sea of Cortez is a big whale shark habitat, and we do have whale sharks. Really, really rare, but they do sometimes come up here. That shark looks interesting in the distance. Is that a whale shark too? It's kind of funny. The shark in front of this whale shark has the profile of a basket shark, but I know it's a whale shark, but it's kind of funny. Let's just take a look at that really quick. No, it's a whale shark because the fin is very far back. Okay, yeah, sorry. It just like looks so big and so shadowy. It almost looked like a basket shark, but it's really cool to see these beautiful, beautiful animals. Oh, Howard, you got it. Whale shark. Yep, absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, and it's really, really cool to see just like how they move at the surface. I've actually never seen whale sharks swimming at the surface before, like this, because this is a classic basking shark behavior. So it makes me think that this individual's probably filter feeding. Whale sharks can do filter feeding and then also can eat tiny fish, or like suction. They famously can like suck out nets of like bait fish. But they also have the capability of filter feeding for plankton, which is part of how they attain such an enormous size. So, but just gorgeous, gorgeous animal. Really cool footage. So this is a longer video, so we'll probably take a look at one more. This one is Sharks of the Caribbean. So I just wanted to take a look at this, and I think we'll wrap up for tonight after seeing a final grand tour of Caribbean sharks. I know there wasn't a lot of information on the Antilles Catshark. Oh, this is really cool. I know there wasn't a lot of information on the Antilles Catshark, and it kind of it's okay to look at kind of the bigger picture of its ecosystem. It's kind of cool to know that it's a deep water cat shark that is near these habitats. It does live in this range. It does come up to probably like the lower reefs, but there's not really a lot of information on it. No footage, not even photographs. It's a very pretty species, and I'm glad it opened the door to learning more about Caribbean sharks in general, because it does live in the Caribbean. But yeah, as you can see, shallow Caribbean waters, gorgeous. Just like the clear watercolor. Or like the beautiful rich blue in the background. Oh, yeah, professional shark diving. Very scary. Glad this individual's wearing a chainmail suit, which seems to be actually kind of effective. If it disrupts kind of how the teeth land, that might be very effective. This individual seems to be performing tonic immobility. So there you go. This is another demonstration of his technique. It's something to calm the sharks down. These are Caribbean reef sharks. It looks like these are exclusively Caribbean reef sharks, which are pretty cool species. I don't think they're especially dangerous, and they're pretty good size as you can see. I love seeing the other fish around here, including groupers. And just look at that water. Oh, this is Stewart Cove. This is a very famous... This is a world-famous dive operator, actually. That's wild. So, very, very, very famous dive operator. Like, they might be one of the oldest and maybe one of the best, too. So, that's actually really cool. I love that amongst these Caribbean reef sharks, we've got... grouper in the background. I'm actually not super familiar with these beautiful yellowfish here. Got a remora on the shark. Who else is here? It's kind of interesting in this particular location, these are all Caribbean reef sharks. But beautiful scene though. And it's so cool that you could just like sit on the seabed and let the sharks be around you, and just have them like looking at you with those gorgeous eyes, and know that you're in a pretty safe situation for the most part. It's like they're huge, but they're not threatening. Clearly, they're very calm for the most part. Let's see what else. Oh god, I'm just keeping my eyes out for any other species. And let me know if you see other species too. I think these are all Caribbean reef. I really love the seascape of the Bahamas, by the way, or the tropical Atlantic, I should say. Which is like these beautiful white sands, intermittent rocks and hard features that are colonized by hydroids and corals and sea fans, and just in a distance, just such a beautiful look. It's like you're in the middle of like a gorgeous, like just beautifully curated aquarium. It's just amazing looking. Like you can't make this natural beauty up. It's just it's hard to describe how gorgeous this is. Like it's like I guess what I'm trying to say is like a human can't design this. So he's got a surgeonfish in the foreground there, but look at those corals. Like just such a gorgeous reefscape. Gorgeous, gorgeous location. Love seeing a Caribbean reef shark patrolling a drop off. So just cruising around such a really complex reef environment. It's so cool. Man, that was a really great shot actually. So okay. And I think with that we might end for tonight. So I'm gonna slow this down as I do an outro. So, but not focus on the diver's face. Yeah, there we go. So. Oh, my pleasure, Howard. Thank you so much for being here. So thank you guys, both, like all of you. Thank you so much for watching, and also just for being considerate as far as like. I had a lot of fun tonight. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm quite tired, so I'm probably gonna crash really early. But I really appreciate you guys being here. I'm glad we can actually all take a look at Caribbean sharks and Caribbean wildlife. Nice segue in relation to the Antilles Catshark. There's really not a lot of information on that species, but it is least concern. It's doing well, and it's one of 50% of sharks. So it's one of the over 200 shark species that are actually doing okay. And it's encouraging to see that they're doing okay. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you all being here, and I'm really excited for next week covering the tropical saw shark. It's a great suggestion, and we'll be back in these crystal clear waters with the group of sharks that surprisingly are doing very well. So I'm excited to see what makes the saw shark least concern. But until then, hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Cheers, guys.